Welcome to the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast.
Every week, they talk about the Vancouver Canucks with a fair amount of nonsense thrown in.
Sure, they're never the first with the news, nor the best connected, and definitely more off the rails than on.
But they've been talking puck the longest, and that counts for something, right?
So strap in for the longest running, best mediocre Canucks hockey podcast.
It's C4 with Chris and Anna.
Hi, Anna. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Craig. We're back.
We are. It's actually not been that long.
Not been
since
that
our
long,
last
actually.
episode.
Yeah,
Right?
less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. And this is like an episode that's going to show up on maybe a Friday. I don't know. To be honest, it's all because Anna's leaving the country. She's getting the heck out of Dodge, and we're kind of recording our July episode now. But then I have like an office day tomorrow. Normally I do the production like the day after the show, and so if I'm in the office, I can't do it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Up in the air.
It is, but before we get into everything that's transpired in the world of the Vancouver Canucks, because there actually hasn't been a whole lot going on in the world of Vancouver Golden Knights, so we're not going to probably have a whole lot to talk about on that front. This podcast is now going to go to that summer schedule, which means we'll see you in August. When? Haven't a clue. Sometime. You'll just show up
TBC.
like a magical surprise in whatever podcast application. I think... I've been doing this now for 14 years? I don't know. I always forget, but I'm pretty sure one of the lessons that I was taught early on was to be consistent with your release schedule. And here I am telling you, I'm breaking that rule and I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, literally, unless like that Colini sell the team, we maybe be back sooner, but...
Yeah, true. We don't... Well, I was going to say, do we want that?
Yeah.
No, but the thing is it's the who they sell it to. Like this is the caveat when everyone says, "Oh, the Aquilini needs to sell a team." You got to line up a buyer first, and a buyer who wants to keep the team in Vancouver is a thing that doesn't seem to be a thing right now.
Yeah, this is the wounded Whitecaps man speaking.
It is. I mean, there's only so many billionaires apparently to go around these days. I mean, that also want to lose money in sports. Vancouver Canucks, they drafted some players. They've signed some players. They've traded some players. They knew we were recording a show, and they made sure there was something for us to talk about. So we're going to get into that. As I had mentioned, the Vancouver Golden Knights, they actually haven't done anything since we last recorded. And if they have, they haven't advertised it. About the only thing that took place was KK Harvey was in town. She got to go up to, was it the quarry in Deep Cove or something like that? They,
somewhere in Deep Cove.
Took her on a hike.
Yeah. Hiking is not
She had
my
a press conference.
area of expertise. So.
Yeah. She likes Vancouver. Always knew she was going to live in Canada, apparently. I mean, she was saying all the right things. She looks like she is happy that she is here in Vancouver. And by all accounts, she's a good egg, which is important for you and I.
Yeah.
Before we dive into Rewind, anything new and exciting on the Anna front?
Not really. Honestly, I've been leading up to this trip, so it's just been like hustling, trying to get everything done. Plus, other festivities. Went to a baseball game. Canadians won in the bottom of the ninth on Tuesday, so that was pretty cool. Went to Jazz Fest, went to a World Cup game. I guess I have done that since.
Yeah, you did go to, known international soccer hater, Anna Forsyth, went to a World Cup match. So, and you got to, hang out with the Kiwis.
Yeah, there were a lot of Kiwis. But that's how we got our cheap tickets. We got some of the Federation tickets. So, it was fun. It was a good
atmosphere. So how did you swing that? Were you...
No idea, because the people that got the tickets are German. One of them doesn't speak a lick of English. So, I don't know. And then my friend is from the UK, so
I mean, I don't know
He
how
has ways.
the New Zealand Soccer Federation or Football Federation is handling it. I know Canada Soccer, it's like a lottery to buy a chance at a ticket or something. It's like, I mean, there is just the demand is huge, obviously, with 2 of the matches here in Vancouver. But speaking of the Vancouver Canadians, Anna, big news. Mad Max Scherzer from the Toronto Blue Jays is going to be pitching on Friday. You might not hear this until after the fact, depending on when I publish this episode. Once word got out that he was going to be pitching in a rehab stint here in Vancouver, the Nats sold out. It's a nooner, so it's a great, afternoon experience in the first place. I was looking on the secondary market, and tickets were going for like $250, $300 a seat.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. For those of you not familiar with baseball, as I'm not, I had to have this explained. It's future Hall of Famer type level guy who is rehabbing through the minor league part of the operation.
Well,
so that's very
the
cool.
stranger part is he's coming to Vancouver. Like Vancouver is if you think of like levels, Vancouver is like much lower.
Steps below, yeah.
Yeah, they're single A as opposed to triple A, which is the triple A team is the guys who are high A, but single. Like it's single, double, triple.
Yeah, but
still, future Hall of Famers generally don't rehab. So I'm curious why they thought Vancouver was a fit.
I don't know if he has family that's a coach that it's
actually
like an injury.
The Jays are in Seattle this weekend. Now it makes a lot more sense.
That's why.
Like if you were gonna, the team's in Seattle, so it's a whole lot closer. Okay, cool.
Yeah, there
Solve
we go.
the mystery, Anna. Podcast is done. See you in a month.
There's not a lot of minor league teams. It's not a baseball hotbed. We have the Northwest League, obviously, but I don't think. I think the other minor league teams are out in the Midwest, right, or something.
Well, yeah. So the bulk of the teams will be sort of Midwest and then further east, and that's just because of the vast majority of the professional teams were on that side of the continent. As time has gone on, baseball's sort of gone further west. As far as I don't want to say the professional game because there is semi-professional ball here in Canada. But as far as I'm aware, as of now, the Vancouver Canadians are only one of a minor league affiliate system that exists in Canada. There used to be a handful of others, but as you sort of go further south, more ball teams. That's just a weather thing. When you play long season ball, nice weather is generally preferred. Anywho, let's move on from the Blue Jays and the Vancouver Canadians and dive into Rewind to talk about the Vancouver Canucks. Going into the NHL entry draft, the Vancouver Canucks had 2 first-round picks. The hope was that they would somehow magically manufacture more. One of the mechanisms that was hopefully going to transpire was Jake DeBrusk finding his new home somewhere in the NHL, and whomever that might be, sending a first-round draft pick Vancouver's way. What's interesting, that was not something that was manufactured by Canucks. The scuttlebutt was coming from other markets. Like, we overvalue players like there is no tomorrow. And people were saying, no, he's definitely worth first, maybe more. And we're like, are you sure? But suffice to say, Jake DeBrusk, still a Vancouver Canuck. As of recording, did not get an extra first round pick there. We already knew that we lost the draft lottery and fell to 3rd with San Jose at 2nd and Toronto at 1st. I had hoped to manifest, John Chaika doing crazy things in Toronto. He did not. Gavin McKenna went 1st overall. Actually, let me rephrase that. Mr. McKenna went 1st overall. There is debate as to whether or not that truly is Gavin. But
if you didn't watch the draft, the kind of thing with a decentralized draft is they don't have the teams make the picks, so someone's got to, and it turns out Justin Bieber is the someone for Toronto.
And sang, was it Yukon Gold or whatever the song is of his?
I do not know. All I know is it was massive cringe. I thought he
It's
was
the
going to
NHL for
take
you.
10 minutes. But yeah, to me, it's just not to get too sidetracked, but it's a massive shame that you don't meet your future employers. Just a
You know,
Batman waiting
if
up there.
if I can at least applaud this draft over the last one, we didn't get to watch the awkward Zoom call happening on the big screen between draft pick and home base.
Yeah,
That part
yeah.
was nice. I do wish they would go back to a centralized draft with all the teams on the floor and what have you. There's just, something about the experience, being able to watch, like, GMs having side conversations in real
Yeah.
time, whether or not they're just asking where the best Putin is, or they're actually trying to, get a deal done. So that part's missing. But I mean, overall, the draft is a mechanism for broadcast media to talk a lot and sell ad space. And it took something like 6 hours for them to announce the first overall pick, and then an additional 12 hours from there to get through just the first round. I might be exaggerating.
Nah.
San Jose, I mean, did what they were going to do, and that left the Vancouver Canucks, who went out on a limb, might suggest off board. And no, they stuck to what they planned on doing the entire time. They drafted Caleb Malhotra, third overall. And, let's be honest, it's not a knock on Caleb. I think there are some that might suggest, the Vancouver Canucks could have maybe traded down. Caleb might have still been available. But overall, I mean, it was a solid pick. And there was a theme that we saw from Vancouver in this entire draft. And Caleb was definitely, based on that theme, the pick you make with number 3.
Yeah. And obviously he was that guy from the beginning. It seems I'm not mad about it. Clearly they have a plan. They said centers, please, and size and speed, please. He's clearly a really good kid. Works hard, and not exactly reach a 3, so it's all good.
Yeah, and let's be, clear.
There might be some mess.
Stenberg wasn't available, went to San Jose.
Yeah.
McKenna's not available. Chase Reed, maybe. Vigo Vavork, maybe. But then
Carson Carroll's maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is, as we're sort of saying maybe to this, that actually I think reinforces that Caleb Malhotra is likely the best pick. The awkwardness is the fact that his dad's the coach, and at some point in time, the Vancouver Canucks will have to figure those things out. But Caleb Malhotra, good egg. I think a reasonable pick for number 3. Well done, Vancouver. You didn't screw it up.
Yeah.
Now, the Canucks had, was it number 24, I believe? And the hope was that, one, a player of good pedigree would fall down to them. I genuinely believe the Vancouver Canucks got a good one in Adam Novotny. Kid's built big.
Yeah.
That said, I think there are some who had hope that it was going to be, Tommy Blale. Another thought was, do they go on a flyer and take Xavier Villeneuve, which they actually had a second shot at. But again, Adam Novotny, he fit within the overarching theme of what Vancouver was looking to acquire. And I do wonder if Hurlbert was available, because he got picked by Detroit one earlier, if that's not who the Canucks were to take over Novotny. But again, the only difference is we're talking about a center to a left winger.
Yeah, and who knows, what some of these players will end up playing. Obviously, if you're being picked in the top 5, you'd imagine your position's pretty set. But some of these centers don't last as centers. So, yeah. But yeah, I think by all accounts, Adam Novotny was rated much higher than 24, like consistently ranked in the teens. So I think Canucks got a good pick. But yeah, to your point, I think it's their pick at 33 that is not necessarily questionable, but like at least maybe more of a stretch.
Yeah. Brooks Rogowski, pick number 33. He's a tree.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a center. He's 6'7".
You just wanted to say 6'7".
Central Registry had him at like 236 pounds. Like this is a kid who is probably still growing and will
that's crazy.
get to sort of NHL weight. He's a big boy. Now, the thought is that, if this pans out, hell of a pick. Like, I got no complaints if the team is looking to get big, so long as they don't get big and slow. I want big and fast. Yeah. And that's where, some were curious, like, at that point, Xavier Villeneuve went to, one spot next to Chicago, not maybe as tall as the Vancouver Canucks would have preferred at 5'11". It blows my mind 5'11" isn't considered tall anymore. But a defenseman.
In hockey.
And, true. The Vancouver Canucks, maybe had decided defensemen just weren't going to be their deal, hence why they hadn't taken Tommy Blale earlier. I should also point out, no magic happened. The Vancouver Canucks didn't draft a pair of twins. The Ruck twins did get their wish, though, but they're not coming here to Vancouver.
Yeah, Pittsburgh still a bit of drafting twins. Good luck to them. They seem adorable, so.
Yeah. With pick 41, Vancouver Canucks got Nicholas Aram-Olsson. When his name was announced, a lot of people were like, who? But then having seen some video on the kid, definitely has opportunity available. He is a little smaller, considering he's only 6'1".
That's crazy.
Short king almost. And then, from there on in, the Vancouver Canucks simply, I don't want to say went through the motions. They continue to draft size. So Dmitry Evchenko was a goaltender, 6'3". They went and picked up, let's see, who's next? Yaroslav Brizgalov, center, 6'4". Yeah, true. Let's see, after Brizgalov, I'm just going down the list here.
Yeah.
You'd think we'd be more prepared. Connor Davis, right wing, 6 foot. He's smoking. Apparently.
Yeah. Did you hear what happened over at Canucks Army with that pick?
No, I didn't.
So I think they weren't necessarily expecting him to go that high, so they didn't have much on him. So they went to do their research and found another hockey player called Connor Davis, who's like an overager playing in like
Europe or something.
I think in Philly, but definitely outside the normal sort of systems of getting drafted in the NHL. But fair enough, it sounds like a very common name.
Yeah. 176, Lucien Bernat, a center, 6'4", 201 pounds. 184 was Samuel Eriksson, 6'5", 212 pounds. Again, you're probably, getting a feel for what the Vancouver Canucks really wanted to get out of this draft. I'm not going to complain about it. They executed the plan that they had wanted to go into it with. Exactly. I think if I have any complaints, it's that they weren't in a position or were not able to weaponize cap space and picks to manufacture more. Because just to, look down south, the San Jose Sharks functionally had half the picks the entire draft, it feels like. Like in the first round alone, San Jose and St. Louis held on to more than 25% of all picks available in the first round. And so, you got to consider the way San Jose was building up and the way St. Louis was building up. kind of wish the Canucks were, but I am not going to fault their current approach. They are allegedly rebuilding, and it does appear, based on some of the activity since, that is to be the case.
Yeah, and I will say they set an intention clearly and drafted around that intention. Yeah, it would be great if any of the deals had gone through, or just flipping picks for 2 more. I'm hoping that, considering we're at the start of this rebuild, that's really the plan, and some of the signings and stuff we'll talk about. I'm hoping pick accumulation is like on their mind throughout this season.
Mm-hmm. And, that sort of has been occurring. So, let's talk a little bit about what also has transpired prior to free agent frenzy. So, on the 29th, the Canucks sent Niels Höglander to the Nashville Predators for Nashville's third-round pick in 2029. It's actually originally Colorado's pick. I am going to miss Höglander. It's unfortunate that it didn't work out here in Vancouver. I mean, as we've talked about on the show, he had some chemistry with Pettersson that just the previous coaches weren't keen on maintaining, though by many accounts, Niels Höglander just found his way into the doghouse quite easily, was never quite buying what the coaches here in Vancouver were selling. But to your point of acquiring picks, they got to pick out of Nashville for 2029. And if you think they got to wait a long time for that, wait until we get into more recent times. That same day, smoke started coming out that the Vancouver Canucks were acquiring Brendan Gallagher. Now, I shouldn't say coming out that day. The scuttlebutt all along was that Gallagher was going to find his way to Vancouver. And what it really came down to was whether or not the Canucks would be willing to take much of the contract on. Well, the Vancouver Canucks got Brendan Gallagher for free, essentially. The Montreal Canadiens are retaining salary, and they're going to accept future considerations back from Vancouver whenever those considerations were to become future.
So, I know. I will miss future considerations, but I'm happy to have Brendan Gallagher. He's exactly the kind of personality you want to put in a room that's rebuilding, and he wants to be there. Yeah, I think that's a really good deal. As for Niels Höglander, I think I
was going to say, with the Gallagher, the Canucks are getting him for half price. Montreal is eating essentially half of his salary.
And it's pretty low risk. Yeah, Höglander. The only thing I will say is, yes, he never fulfilled his potential, and you can't take that blame away from him, even if there are some mitigating factors. But the only thing I would say is, if any coach were to get him to go, it would definitely have been Malhotra. Yeah, for sure. So.
And you look at sort of the Canucks coaches over the last handful of years, like Bruce Boudreau, as far as coach was concerned, was able to sort of extract quite a bit out of these players who then found their way into the doghouse or Pawtucket and then subsequently stayed there with Adam Foote. I feel Manny would likely be more in line with Bruce, not suggesting he is going to be like Bruce, but I just feel he is the type of coach that finds ways to elevate players and draw as much as you'd said out of them.
Get the most value out of them. And, it was good for Petey and Höglander when they played together. And the fact that coaches wouldn't give that a real go was bizarre to me.
Yeah. And then yesterday, which happened to be July 1st, Canada Day, the New York Rangers acquired Pettersson from the Vancouver Canucks. Now, when all I saw was New York Rangers acquire Pettersson from Canucks, I'm like, holy hell, they sent Petey to New York. I can't imagine that's going to be all that good. But the thing is, we have so many Petterssons. It wasn't the one that many people had thought was. Marcus Pettersson, he's going to ply his trade in New York. Now, as it stands, it sounds like Marcus Pettersson had completely bought into the fact that the Vancouver Canucks were in a rebuild, wanted to stay here, but then when presented with the opportunity to play on a team that can potentially compete and maybe win, asterisks there, elected that to go to the Rangers. And the Vancouver Canucks got back a first-round pick for him. Ain't no complaints there, except for the fact it's in 2030.
Yeah.
That's a long way out.
Can I just say, I understand Pedersen, like, I almost said taking a flyer, but you know what I mean? Like, taking the risk to move to New York, because Vancouver for sure aren't winning anytime soon. But that's not a bet I would make, and a bet I would make is that pick's going to be pretty damn good. It does have top 10 protection, but then it's unprotected in 2031. So it might be a nice pick. That's what I will say. So, and like you said, accumulation. Who knows if Canucks even make that pick, but it's just another one for the bag.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, the Vancouver Canucks going into free agent frenzy acquired a solid, number of big boys out of the draft, got themselves a couple more picks for the future, and have a guy like Brendan Gallagher, who by all accounts is a player that other players would go through a wall for. Never really all that offensively prolific in Montreal, but I have yet to hear a fan say anything negative about the guy. Watching Habs fans understand it's a business and he has to go to Vancouver. I'm going to miss him. I really wish there was a way to keep him here. That speaks quite loudly. It's different when fans are and it's always going to be split, but so glad he's gone. No, the vast majority of Habs fans, if not all of them, are like, we wish Gallagher well. We just wish it had worked out that he could stick around here. A few other tidbits. The Vancouver Canucks no longer have Danila Klimovich available to them. They elected not to qualify him, and he is elected to sign somewhere else. Spoiler alert, it's with Rick Tocchet, which is really interesting because Tocchet never gave him the light of day, so not sure what's going on there.
That's a few interesting choices, but I guess he's still playing hockey.
Yeah, Phil Joseph also.
I mean, rip to the best dressed Canuck, who was the best dressed by a long way.
For now, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a new best dressed Canuck that's going to be
finding
the way into Vancouver. Anywho, we'll get into more of what went down with free agency, both for the Vancouver Canucks and those former Vancouver Canucks, and maybe a little bit around the league. We're going to take a short break, though. You're listening to the C4 Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Anna, Chris, and Craig.
Take hitting out of the game. You can't hit anymore, so don't do it.
The unsportsmanlike conduct, I want to get an explanation on it.
No kidding.
Because how do you get suspended for unsportsmanlike conduct?
Plus interference. There's no interference there. He had the puck.
Now, Madison never ever did that before. Now, why did he do it? And that because he was mad.
Well, your early favorite for the Calder Trophy, that's for sure. Elias Pettersson, you might even say your early favorite for the Hart Trophy.
Just to get back to your question, Elias is going to play plenty. He didn't play. He's going to get a lot of power play time. And yeah, I'm concerned about our offense. We lost 200-point players, and we've got to find a way to score.
Going into free agent frenzy, I think it was understood that the Vancouver Canucks were going to be working within the confines of a budget. That had been quite clear with sort of the activity that we saw leading up to free agency. The Vancouver Canucks were allowing a number of their free agents to explore the market. Like Teddy Bluger, for instance, there was some thought that, what might the Canucks try to keep him here within the fold, though, let's be frank. Does Teddy Bluger want to be part of a rebuild, or does he want to win? Well, he's not coming back to Vancouver. And the biggest splash that the Canucks really made prior to free agency was bringing Guillaume Brisebois back at a cap hit of $900,000. I mean, I like the Breeze. He's fine, but I imagine he's going to enjoy his time in Abbotsford.
Yeah, the sentimental value that I attach to Guillaume Brisebois at this point, he is my emotional support hockey player. It's because no matter what happens, he sticks around. I mean, he's the longest serving Canuck, right? he's had a handful of games at the NHL level. He's come back from various injuries, and he just keeps on going, and I admire that.
Yeah. And obviously must really enjoy Abbotsford, because I can't imagine he's here in Vancouver outside of, call-up material. Though, heck, he can't go into camp and impress everyone. So the Vancouver Canucks, we knew they weren't going to make too big of a splash. And, their first signing was to acquire Paul Cotter on a 1-year deal for $2.15. He's a forward, 26 years old.
Yeah. Did you know who he was? Be honest.
No, not at all.
didn't.
When I
Never
saw the
heard
name,
of
I
him.
had to look him up.
Yeah.
So again,
Never heard of him,
for people are like, why would they sign a guy like that? Well, one, you have to get above the floor on the salary cap era. 2, you need certain number of contracts on your NHL roster. And 3, you need an NHL roster. Even though the Canucks are rebuilding, they need some players.
Who knows? At the deadline, maybe someone needs a fourth liner who's, had a leading role.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's key, is that the Vancouver Canucks, haven't done a really good job at finding players that could then be turned into an asset come trade deadline. And Kiefer Sherwood last year was probably the closest that the Vancouver Canucks had to that situation. We need more Kiefers. Find players, help them grow within a role where they're going to probably get the spotlight far greater than any other organization in the league, and then maybe they move on. A 1-year deal, 2.15, nothing to complain about. I would argue, well, not the biggest splash, probably the signing that made many people happy, defenseman Luke Schenn, he's coming home.
Yeah. He may not be from Vancouver, but Vancouver is in his heart.
He is.
And he's spent enough time here.
Yeah, I mean, he's by all accounts the type of guy that does his job, works hard. The effort he provides on the ice is always top level. Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's what I think the Vancouver Canucks need a lot of, is they need some older players who know how to play the game, know how to play it the right way. Like, friend of the show, Jay, was talking about how, the Canucks aren't going to be all that good, but there ain't going to be a team out there that isn't going to outwork them. And that's, for a rebuilding team, that's what you want to see. You want to see a team that works hard and builds that sort of into the younger players who are going to be the future of the organization. So Luke Schenn's back, 1-year deal, 2.25. Akil Thomas, 1 year, 900,000. Pretty sure he's going to apply his trade in Abbotsford, though, let's be honest, I haven't a clue. Don't know who he is.
I have at least heard of him.
You have? Okay. I can't say
that's
I have.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah, Trey Fix-Wolansky, another 1 year, $900,000 deal, 27-year-old forward. But probably the big splash, aside from the trade where, Pettersson got sent to elsewhere, was that the Vancouver Canucks signed Jamie Oleksiak to a 2-year deal, $5 million per, so $10 million total. He's a defenseman, and I would say he is probably your Marcus Pettersson replacement. He's also, contract-wise, less money than Marcus Pettersson happened to be. And what's very important to point out with all of these additions, there are no movement clauses, no trade clauses. These are all players who, if they were to perform, I don't know Oleksiak if they would necessarily trade unless the right deal were to come knocking.
But we'll see. Yeah.
Right. But they're all 1-year deals. These are the types of players that often will get flipped at the deadline to a team who's looking to win, which hopefully is not Vancouver Canucks.
And like you say, we need bodies on the blue line. And Jamie Oleksiak is experienced. He's big. He sticks up for his teammates. I think he's a good person to have. Like $5 million is slightly more than I would like to pay, but I think it's probably worth it on balance with all the other factors.
Yeah. And then today, the Vancouver Canucks signed Matthew Steinberg, not too sure. He doesn't get a picture. He's at league minimum. He's probably going to be playing in Abbotsford. And again, Abbotsford needs players, so gotta sign those contracts too.
Abbotsford needs players for the Vancouver Canucks to take when they have injuries.
Yeah. Teddy Bluger, as I mentioned, not with Vancouver Canucks. He's going to go and play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who went and got Bobrovsky because, maybe Bob's going to bring glory to Toronto. Edmonton, they got Freddie Anderson in net. They needed a goaltender, apparently, and that's the best that they could do. But the part that I do not understand as we sort of talk about what's going on in the rest of the league, Darnell Nurse got traded. We knew going in to the offseason that the Edmonton Oilers were going to find someone to take Nurse. And there was some thought that maybe the Vancouver Canucks take the horrible contract and have, Connor McDavid added as the sweetener or something, because that's how brutal the contract was. Can you explain to me what Greer sees in Nurse down in San Jose? Because San Jose had by far the best draft in sort of modern history. And then they traded for Nurse. Full contract.
Yeah, I really am not sure what's happening there. It doesn't seem to line up with the rest of the decisions. Not least because I don't see what you're getting out of the anchor of a contract. Like, it's not like you're getting a player who isn't worth his contract anymore, but still, like, a leader or anything. He just seems to have been stewing in Edmonton. I'm not sure.
And that's the thing is, like, he it's not like he's up this year. Excuse me. His contract, I believe, is one additional year after this. Like, the contract actually starts more than 1 year. It goes through to 29-30. Again, maybe there is something that Mike Greer knows that we don't, because until that trade, I don't think anyone would have questioned anything that he's done in San Jose since he's taken the reins down there. What else? Ovechkin's back for another season, signed a 1-year deal in Washington. Let's be honest, he was going to be playing in Washington if he was going to be playing, and he's back.
Yeah.
Good Branson, the DJ that the Vancouver Canucks gave up for nothing, having acquired him for everything, still has a job in the NHL. Desharnais, speaking of which, still has a well-paid job in the NHL.
A very well-paid job in the NHL. Like, I don't know if it's the San Jose effect. And they just saw that he had one stats bump of a year, and it's like, oh, he's fixed now. I don't know. What is it, 4.5 or something he's getting for 4 years?
Yeah, like it's per over two. Like, that was the thing. Like, there was some, like, did they get the numbers wrong? Like, should it be like 4.5 for the term, not 4.5 per? Like, again, it's free agent frenzy. GMs do silly things, and the fact that the Vancouver Canucks didn't is a blessing. Now, there's thoughts they're working within the confines of a budget, because again, that wine cellar doesn't fill itself, and good vino costs big dollars. But let's be real. Other teams were doing the silly. Brendan Gaunce. Maybe the Canucks gave up on him too early. He's going to be playing for a couple more seasons in Boston.
I did see that. I was just like, good for you, Brendan. He's another guy that's really stuck it out.
Right? It's what is Aiden McDonough, another, Canucks legend. He's going to be playing in Buffalo. I shouldn't knock him. At the end of the day, he's playing in the NHL, and the only way you play in the NHL is you're good enough to play in the NHL, allegedly. Okay. I am not one of those people. So, what can I say? I have to say that this free agent frenzy period was somewhat underwhelming this season. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that the standard of unrestricted free agent was maybe not as high as it has been in seasons past. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that the World Cup impact is taking some of the hype out of it. Like, to put things in perspective, the TSN Free Agent Frenzy studio was not available because it's currently being used for the World Cup. So they just stuffed everyone behind the desk for Jay Onright's show and called it an episode. The Sportsnet, the stakeholder here in Canada, they flipped it over to the Jays. All Sportsnets. You have 5 Sportsnet. All of them got to show the Jays.
To me, I thought it was a good free agent frenzy. I found the trade deadline that had just passed a little underwhelming. From a point of view of quality of players on the move, yes, maybe less so. But I found the storylines interesting. I mean, a lot of it was, what are you doing? Like, what's Chicago doing, signing Bowen Byram to superstar money?
Well, he's going to protect Connor Bedard from the boards.
Oh, yeah. The boards. Yeah, the big bad boards.
Did you see that earlier today?
No, sorry. I thought that was... No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So many hockey players go back to, their home in the off season, but as the season approaches, they all sort of collectively get together and start, practicing and what have you. And Connor Bedard was with a bunch of other players, I believe, out in Burnaby, doing some drills, and he caught an edge or something, crashed into the sideboards, immediately got up, skated off the ice with his shoulder hanging down, swearing. If you want to see the sort of video, it's not graphic. It's just there was a live video feed, and obviously there are people who watch these feeds just for the sake of watching, in case maybe something like this were to occur. It did. And so who knows what's going on in the Blackhawks with future Vancouver Canuck Connor Bedard.
Yeah. Well, as long as he's okay by the time we get him.
I think he will be. And that there is some thought that you consider that 2030 first round pick. There are a number of players who we always talk about, future Vancouver Canucks so-and-so coming home. The Vancouver Canucks, if they rebuild the right way, it's not going to be a fast turnaround, but they could be a pretty darn good team in a couple of seasons. And if they're a pretty darn good team and they have draft picks, you're now a desirable destination for players who are magically entering free agency about that time.
Yeah.
And further to that, you might be in a position to throw out offer sheets if you have your own picks available, knowing you have other people's picks to take their place. On that note, there was an offer sheet in free agency. I don't know if anything has come from it yet.
I'll look it up. But speaking of future draft picks, how old is baby Celebrini? Because talk out of the winner club is that he's even better than Macklin. So, yeah, I don't know if that's 2030 or not. So, but
yeah. Anywho, it's good to be a Canucks fan looking ahead at the future that might be bright, as opposed to the current, place where I don't know. You know what? Do I have expectations? No, I don't, and I'm actually okay with that. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm happy that the Vancouver Canucks are not selling us any false hope, that we're not hearing from a front office or an ownership group that's telling us these players are our future and it's so bright. Yeah, I know there is a light at this end of this rebuild tunnel. It will occur as long as the Vancouver Canucks don't try to rush things. Bad teams before them have tried to rush a rebuild. It never works out. Anywho, any other hockey notoriety that we want to talk on before we take a long break and come back sometime in August? Or before, if the Aquilini sell?
If Aquilini sell. I don't think so. By all accounts, I don't think Utah have done anything with the offer sheet, but they have a few more dates. So.
Yeah, I was just, offer sheets are apparently voodoo, though we've now, seen a couple in recent history.
Yeah, and that gives me even more respect than I already have for Sonny Meta. So,
well, there was some thought that Tulski might put in an offer sheet on a potential target. And that could still technically occur if a restricted free agent has yet to sign a deal. But it's interesting that the nerds, and I say that complimentary, are the ones who are looking at an actual tool that has existed in the NHL since the dawn of time, which I know it hasn't, and are putting it to use. I truly hope that this happens more frequently, that the tools that are available to all GMs. I also hope that there is success because it can reinforce that the old guard doesn't know what they're doing half the time and the new guard is planning to take over. The Canucks have a history of following these trends, be it late. That's the type of trend I want to see more of. Not to suggest I want a different front office. I just want this front office. I want them to embrace their inner nerd. So here we are at the end of our July episode, at the start of July. Maybe we should have saved July until later. But the problem, again, goes back to the fact that Anna gallivants around the planet on a regular basis, and trying to lock her down in a phone booth in who knows where to record a show is difficult.
You're making me sound like some billionaire with a private jet. To be clear, I'm having cattle class.
Okay, first of all, I don't wish anyone to be a billionaire, but if you were, I would like to think you'd sponsor our podcast.
Yeah, and also maybe buy the Canucks.
There we go. I might need to be a multi-billionaire to do that, to be honest. Because the Aquilinis, they're not going to... They'll sell you the team, they won't sell you the barn, and trust me, you don't want to go that route. And for anyone who's like, why would Chris say so nice not to be a billionaire? Billionaires, they shouldn't exist. Let's be very real.
Yeah, there are no good billionaires.
I don't have an issue with the millionaire class, though there are many who probably shouldn't exist either. But you have $1 billion, what do you need the money for? And typically, if you have that much money, it's because you've exploited so many other people to get there.
100%.
Anyhow.
Cosign.
What final words of wisdom do you have for our listeners as we head into summer?
Just how excited I am to see my family. So, if you are lucky enough to have your family nearby, appreciate them. And if you're not like me, appreciate the times you can spend with them, because it's pretty great when that's allowed to happen.
Say hi to everyone for me, especially your mom. Hi, Anna's mom.
Hi, Mom.
Your mom needs to come back here soon so we can all go out for drinks again.
Yes, that was a good one.
I really enjoyed that afternoon out with your mom. And you, of course. But
yeah. No, it was really good. I'm hoping she'll come by in the autumn, because I would love her to see my new place. So autumn or winter, yeah.
Okay. Final words of wisdom from me. I got none, actually. I'll be honest. I don't really have a whole lot to say right now. It's just been busy. Okay, now here's some words of wisdom. Every journey that anyone ever goes on starts with small steps, and it's important to understand that every small step is progress. I'm currently going on sort of, something I've done many years. Longtime listeners have probably heard me talk about it. I'm trying to improve my health and well-being. I go for, now, I have a habit of doing a walk after dinner every single night. 3 times a week, I'm going for walks in the morning. I'm far more active. I'm closing my exercise ring on my Apple Watch every single day. And I'll be honest, it was tough. It's still tough, especially today because of the weather. This is the first sort of rainy day I've had since I've been doing this. And yet there's that voice that says, no, you don't have to take tonight off. I'm like, no, I've built a habit. I don't want to lose that momentum. I'm just taking these small steps. So anyhow, every long journey starts with a few small steps, and it's just a matter of them adding up over time. Anyhow, it's wisdom for me.
Love that.
If you've reached this point of the show and you want to, connect with Anna and I, the best place to do that is in C4 Discord, discord.io/C4 podcast. You can find us on all the social media platforms. She's A4603 and I'm Lightforce. The podcast itself is on social media as well. It's just the name is so inconsistent. X, it's the C4 podcast. On Threads, the real C4 podcast, because apparently the C4 podcast isn't available. Blue Sky at C4podcast.com. I've been kicking around that maybe we set up a Mastodon account somewhere for the podcast at some point. Maybe that'll be next season. There's so many accounts, it's hard for me to keep track. And I'd just rather communicate me as opposed to through the logo, so to speak. And you can find our back catalog at c4podcast.com, as well as a list of all the guests that have joined us. We might have a guest with us in August. We might not. Who knows? I tried to actually line one up for today. It just sort of fell through last minute. Didn't actually tell Anna, which I need to do better at.
No, that's fine.
And if you want to support us, though I can appreciate we're not recording a whole lot right now, so maybe the value isn't there. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/C4 podcast. Buy me a coffee, otherwise known as
Buy me a pint.
And you can throw either a few bucks our way as a one-off. Those are the funds that we use to buy the pints if and when Anna and I ever get together. Or you can support us on a more regular basis, either monthly or annually. And in doing so, that money gets directed into covering our bills. So for those of you who've been supporting us, we just recently paid a pretty hefty bill for our podcast hosting. And it was cut in about a third because of the generosity of you, our listeners. So we do truly appreciate that. Every dollar you send us on a regular basis goes directly to those bills, doesn't go to our pockets. So on behalf of Anna, A4603, myself, Chris at Lightforce, and the robot that doesn't say a whole lot in the background, Craig, we out.